Hello and welcome to the episode 13 of the Immersive Arts Twitch stream, talking about live role playing in Victoria in Melbourne. Immersive Arts Melbourne are a group of LARP writers and events managers who want to help make more LARPs happen. Love the LARP medium as an art form. We've made a bunch of games over the years. We want to see more. As part of that project and a part of wanting a bunch of LARPs to happen, Immersive Arts ran a program called Pilot Season. August did an incredible amount of work to make it run. Congratulations, August. The second game and other people as well, like Lisa and Jess did a heap. There was a bunch more behind the scenes thing. Gareth Lou did the kitchens at both games. It was actually fantastic. A lot of work across a bunch of people. But today, we're talking mostly about the second game in the pilot season, and this is called Fields of Honor. And we're going to introduce our panelists in a moment, but because we're doing Fields of Honor, I am going to be a complete wanker about it. And so, please take that the nicest possible way. Our first panelist is Ben. Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your LARP history, and who you played at the Fields?
My name is Ben, he, him. I don't have much of a LARP history. This was actually my first weekend at LARP, my first combat LARP, and yeah, my first fight in armor as well. I've been in a bunch of other LARPs, sort of mostly as an NPC. I have a bit of history with Midnight in Melbourne, but there's really only 4 of those per year. So yeah, I've been trying to scratch that itch. This was my first foray into stepping out into the wonderful wide world of weekend laughs.
Fantastic. And you played?
I played Harold, and as is tradition, messing up my own name.
Amazing. Let's go to Bronte.
Hi, I'm Bronte, she, her. I've been LARPing in Melbourne for about 10 years now. Started as many of us do through Swordcraft. Very quickly, my first sort of weekend event was the first Black Powder and Bloodlines, which was very formative. I think we've had a real injection of new players in the last few years through Dance of Ribbons. And it's been fun to explain to people that that wasn't a formative experience for me because that had already happened. Yeah, this was a really good event, and I'm really excited about the pilot season initiative. I'm glad to have gotten to play one of the games. I played the consort Eleanor Griffchant de la Tour of Corezia. I'm not going to do the act.
Okay, so I should probably note that my panelists can't hear the fanfares, or see the heraldry. So anyway, Hugh.
Sorry, you threw me a little bit talking about how I can't see the heraldry. That's fine. Hi, I'm Hugh. They, them. I have been LARPing since about 13 years now, I think, something like that. I can only do that math because I remember that signing the waiver form at my first Swordcraft Friday night game was the very first thing I ever did as a legal adult.
Oh,
I went, oh
congratulations.
no, I need my parent or guardian for this. No, I didn't. Anyway, after that, I moved out 2 weekenders with Chimera Productions, which is a deep pull. Probably a lot of people aren't familiar. But they did like very they were like LARP rights of the older school. I'm not sure they're running anymore. It was a shame because they did run some really good events and really set like much higher expectations of things like set dressing, things like narrative, what LARPs could be. Yeah, and I've been sort of pretty active with various of LARP games since, although I've fallen off battle games because I don't have the time anymore.
So it goes. And you
Yeah,
played?
I played Simogan Lafulgare, who was the Knight of Koretsia, and now Josie's husband, which remains to be seen how good a choice that was. Anyway.
Oberon.
Oberon. Hi, my name's Oberon, they, them, Faye. My connection to LARP actually starts in reenactment. I grew up back in Canberra, which you'd think would mean that I went to Phenomicon every year. I didn't. I didn't learn about Phenomicon until I moved to Melbourne because I'm very clever. But I have been doing reenactment and live play storytelling games since I was about 8. I am now 30, and you can do the math from there. I am the creative director of Fields of Honor. I had the idea and convinced a fuck ton of incredibly skillful people to put it together, and handed it to 40 of the most passionate LARPers that could buy tickets as fast as possible. And it was incredible. I am still somewhat stunned and tender, but thank you so much, August and Immersive Arts Melbourne, for the chance I got to have testing my game engine and watching it below steam as the tires span.
Yeah.
I was the lead GM, and in that role we used diegetic GMs. So the character I portrayed was the Royak Anna Trunek Dracul Webslayer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I, your host, Josie, I've been LARPing for, I don't know, longer than I'm willing to admit. But mostly this weekend I played the consort of Gahama, the Angarad Vichangarad. Oh, why is my thing so small? No, that's the smallest heraldry. We cannot have that. There we go. The biggest heraldry. Who was an egotistical horror show. But I promise I'm just going to stop doing fanfares for a bit. Because it's starting to annoy me, and I can only imagine how much it's annoying everyone else. So let's go on. Let's have a bit of a look at what Fields of Honor was. Fields of Honor was very much a freeform LARP. Players were nobles of a fantasy kingdom, either martial knights who got to fight and be men, or consorts and courtiers who got to politic and be women. The game was very much about gender, even though it claimed it wasn't. No, it didn't claim it wasn't at all. Even though, like, what we would consider gender didn't exist. There was no male and female that was relevant. What was relevant was consort or mother. Anyway, the knights did fighting, the nobles did, the courtiers did politicking. We bet on the outcome of the fights. We started arguments that became more fights. We organised marriages, which were sealed with fights. and we shouted at people. And that was essentially the game for 48 hours, right?
Yeah. That's the primary gameplay loop. As I wrote and described, you go to the tourney and you either pick fights, defend people in fights, or just do fights to win. And this will settle into causing more fights. And we did that for a little under 30 hours. We lost 6 of them, and that's okay.
We did. Welcome very much to everybody in the chat, particularly Hazet Titanborn, who is new, Iris Pearl, who is new, my dear sister, the monster, who is terrible. No, I
Hazet
love her.
Titanborn is George.
Hazet Titanborn is George. Hi, George. Congratulations on being the best at gambling. I was asked by several people when I posted the image what chivalric gambling was, and I think, Ben, I would like you to answer that question.
Best as I can determine, chivalric gambling is very high stake. We're given some trinketry, which kind of doesn't matter anymore. Money doesn't matter anymore. What matters is monopoly, and getting a monopoly over all of the pieces. So when there were fiefs up for grabs, those were some high stakes. When all of the fiefs were up for grabs, those were some definite high stakes. That's chivalric gambling.
Absolutely. Bronte, what was your game like from the top end?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting from a chivalric gambling perspective, and it's something that I spoke about with George, who played my hand, who's within the context of the game. For those who didn't play, are the political nobles, the 2 I see, more or less. He did a lot of gambling, and he gambled very well. I didn't really place any bets outside of dowries, because all I did all weekend was negotiate marriages.
And because the first
all I
bet
did.
you placed was with me and you lost.
Didn't we? We were going to place another bet, and we got distracted and didn't, and it was for the best because they doubled.
It is true. And then you went off and arranged marriages.
And then I went off and arranged marriages, and I arranged them very well. The gameplay loop for consorts specifically, unless you're Josie, is predominantly arranging marriages, and it is predominantly moving around the other courtly nobles. So arranging marriages, settling disputes with other kingdoms, and massaging the egos of crown knights was the primary gameplay loop. Not my own crown knight. I would like to say Sir Giles is unimpeachable, and I won't have anything bad said about him, but the others certainly. Yeah. It was interesting because the intended gameplay was definitely for consorts who had more surplus land to gamble.
Oh no.
Their station.
Wait a minute. Wait, we're back. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, the stream exploded?
No,
you
my internet broke for a moment. Apologies for that. I really hope it doesn't happen again. I have no idea why it happened.
The stream appears to have dropped.
The stream
It's
should
back
return
now.
very quickly. There it is.
Surf's miss.
Everybody's internet broke. Okay. Okay, we're back. Bronte, the intended gameplay loop for consorts involved having a lot of property to gamble.
Yes, I didn't really do that except when it came to dowries. And even then, it often wasn't me gambling on dowry fights separate to get to the dowry. I would wager my own lands as the dowry for other members of Koretzia. That was a good way I found to get other factions to buy in on marrying their nobles down.
You did try and get yours married up quite a lot.
I only married them up. I have a chart.
Speaking of fighting, my dear husband,
The gallant.
so gallant. My shield. I was talking to somebody on Sunday morning and described my game as sort of pushing a rock off the top of a hill and then running down underneath it and grabbing Hugh and putting.
That's pretty much exactly how it felt, I must say.
What was the
you-
fight side like? Hugh? From a
Um,
top end fight side.
Yeah, so like from someone pretty high up, not like top of the higher political hierarchy there, but from someone high enough up to be like involved in those kind of games. Interesting. I appreciate that this was a game that really created fights with stakes in a way that I've found at other games is quite difficult to do, because a lot of the time there's no middle ground, or it's very difficult to make a fight at a LARP with a middle ground between doesn't matter at all and death.
Mm.
But there were definite my early fights, whatever, sure, warm-up bouts, those fights in the tournament, they didn't matter as much. Obviously, you still want to win them because it's points, and points get you more points at the end. But then on the Sunday, and on the Saturday night, and then on the Sunday, having people come up to me and be like, hey, by the way, are you aware? Because you didn't tell me anything, Josie. You did not give me this heads up. I had to get this third hand that, by the way, one, your future wife is getting in a lot of fights and has gotten in a very big one, and
You
two,
knew
she's bet
about
everything on it.
those.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had bet everything on it, and if I had lost that fight, I would be a peasant.
Look,
Not true.
Well,
that's
not
not
actually.
quite
No,
true.
math
as
just
it
might
ended
have
That's
up.
not
become a
quite true. Mathing it
squire.
out, I would have been a squire.
We would have lost
No.
quite a lot.
I would have been the
We've been
richest
fine.
herald.
I had other
Yeah.
bets that meant that
They've gifted.
it wouldn't have gone quite so terribly.
Okay, well, I'm glad no one told me that, because the sheer weight of that, like pulling out flicking all of the adrenaline switches in the back of my brain is basically what got me the results I got on the Sunday when I had 4 basically back-to-back fights and was like, okay, this is the highest stakes it's ever been. Oh God. No, the pressure was good.
Good. Next time I'm
But
going to
yeah,
tell
that
you
was
I bet you everything on everything.
and then I'll stop believing you and it won't work.
Well, fair enough. Oberon, talk to us about points.
Points.
I know points were kind of Percy's thing, but still.
So, the goal of the pressure was to replicate a fight I actually had with Hugh at Dance Ribbons, where there was this fight that a large chunk of people knew the stakes behind, and everyone else knew that stakes existed. So the purpose of the points was literally, at its core, if I boil away all of the pretense of the setting, which was written after we wrote the rules. So this is an important thing about the points. We wrote those first. We wrote the entire mechanical loop and then constructed a fantasy in which this is normal.
Yeah.
So the points are there to create pressure, to create reason, and to create those wonderful moments throughout the game where, oh fuck, if I win, my life changes. If I win, the realm changes. If I win, the empire changes. Fuck, we doubled. Oh fuck.
Yeah. The bits with. So if
the
a fight
points
for the audience, any of the audience who weren't there, what it means is if a fight ended with both combatants striking each other, then that was doubling, and both sides lost any wages and all the things that were on that, and the prize went to GMs basically. They went to the crown, the emperor and the royarch and empress.
Went to the hosts of the event.
They did.
In future games, like in setting, this explains why everyone loves hosting tournaments. You win draws. But this is one of the first times in the Empire that there was a grand tourney of every kingdom under the royarch.
Right.
Which made draws immediately mean, oh, there goes my lands. Oh no.
Yeah,
and
Bronte.
we did. And when that happened in the first few bouts, we offered benediction. We offered the chance, hey, if you call the next one correctly, you can have it back. Thanks to, again, Hugh pushing the ideas of my game so much I had to codify bequeathment. An idea we always had in the team, but by the time we were having these thoughts, we were going, we should probably finish all of the physical production side of the game. The book is playable, let's move on. And then every few days or weeks, we'd go, all right, add a new thing to the book. Add a new thing to the book. But this meant that the points were losable and retrievable.
Yeah.
For as long as we felt it was fun. When it was more fun and more dramatic to just lose, we stopped giving people back tap outs.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Ben? How much did you interact with the gambling side of it? Because kind of harder for the lower ranks.
It is a little bit as heralds or as a bard. You only have one fief to gamble, so you kind of have to ask permission from your much higher ups up through the chain of command to be able to gamble that. That said, once I got that permission, I kind of took it as a blanket permission to, perhaps offer it on a couple of different things. Not necessarily the one that I was told to, but I figured, well, I mean, our consort is gambling all of their lands against the hand, so maybe they'll probably let this one slide. But yeah, look, it was very, very interesting. Even just placing side bets on, using little different trinketry and so forth. That still added a whole bunch of stakes to the game. Betting my only fief came up a couple of times. It was
after you won the first one, was it no longer your only fief?
No, because I didn't actually get to put that fief up for grabs in either of the bets that I tried to make. By the time I was able to get to the scribes, I wasn't the fight was sort of in progress, so it wasn't a feasible bet anymore.
The first time you tried it,
I had so many other things to worry about.
Well, the first time you tried it, I couldn't find anyone to bet against you.
Well, that was the second.
Oh no, I was at the second one.
Yeah.
Right. And both of these file to a real problem that Percy has already admitted and we've already admitted wanting to fix, is that we just have to increase the amount of fiefdoms everyone has bottom up. Percy crunched the numbers to be playable, and we wanted you all to care about your blorbos based on their narrative more than the points. But then the game all got forced inside a box. I'm glad the game survived being in a box, but it meant that no one had any room to play it out deeper than mechanically.
I do think that was actually a little bit of a plus. This was not just
Your
a
next
zero
one.
sum game. It was almost like a minus sum game. If whatever you bet ends up as a double, you've lost it to the Royak. It's no longer in circulation. So it's more than just exchanging this for that. It was, yeah, there is also a chance this just disappears for good. That raised stakes quite significantly. I was hesitant to my thief up for grabs on fights that I was not sure of the outcome.
Absolutely.
For
Bronte,
clarity,
you were
when
next.
you say the
Sorry,
game-
Bronte, then Hugh.
Bronte.
Sorry, I raised my hand.
Yeah, Hugh.
No, I was going to talk about when I think that the gambling did work really well. Broadly, I think it worked fine. Obviously, we've talked about where these pressure points are, so I won't rehash them. But Sunday, Sunday, I think that worked really well. With the hour of court before the duels started, we knew what duels were on. We were able to place bets in advance, and the benefit of that is we both had time to talk about it first and make absolutely insane schemes. But also, yeah. But also, it meant that we watched the fights. Because that was something that I found unfortunate after having that Sunday morning where everyone sat and reacted and watched the fights, is because the fighting and the betting was happening concurrently. People were so busy trying to do their political maneuvering that we weren't watching tourney, unless we had personal sort of weeks running on it, and even then, sometimes we weren't.
No, even then.
It was a lot of fun watching it on Sunday morning. Good RP, some good tension. I had no horse in several of those races that I was aware of, but it was a lot of fun.
Hugh?
Oh, I was just going to say, for clarity, in case there's audience who weren't there, when you say the game survived being put in a box, you mean when we had to move inside because the tent was going to blow away?
Yes, so originally this game was going to be put in about 3 times as much room as it did, which meant everyone would have had more room to talk to each other and scheme because you wouldn't be overhearing each other, more room to storm off and actually be separate from the people you couldn't talk to, instead of, Josie, I don't like you anymore, and now we have to stand next to each other because there's nowhere to go. And we're not allowed to talk, so we'll just fume.
I mean, that is a thing. I feel like, I spent a lot of time not being able to talk to quite a lot of people, because I kept starting. No, I started one fight, like literally one fight, and then everyone decided that meant that they could start fights with me, so they kept doing it. And that was pretty great. But also, so I did spend a lot of time being like, I can't actually talk to various people. I don't think space was that big a problem. Where like, I was sort of looking around, being like, can't talk to them, can't talk to them, can talk to them. There's some people. It did make it easier to find people I could talk to because we were locked in a box. Ben, could you please introduce to us whoever's in your lap?
Yeah, this is Mulligan. So named because he got a reshuffle. He's my boy.
What we're doing.
Delightful, thank you. Sorry. Ridian asks in the chat, when we are talking about like a game, a LARP with a lot of gambling in it, how did we handle the issues of problem gambling as game content around, please? Anyone can answer.
I will, and I'll be honest, I should have spent more time talking about that, and I didn't. I played it as a mechanical action, and then put in a bunch of safety levers that allowed players to tap out, essentially. Everything they had to put up as characters, they had to do themselves. I was very lucky with the people I had as players that they did self-regulate and tap out when necessary. But that is one of the things I need to review before making this game larger and public, is the warning labels and the control sticks on the fact that, yeah, we are playing with fake things to gamble, and that's what makes it feel safe, but we are still firing a bunch of neurons in our skull that we have to be careful with.
Yeah.
And I should have had more conversations about that.
I mean, moving on. That's fair. But also, like, I think there was a couple of things around it where there were characters who lost lots because they couldn't stop betting. And I think as part of the timing system, we didn't actually have a lot of time to arrange or to deal with that, right? Thoughts, rest of the panel?
I do, not necessarily from a gambling real life kind of example, but I think if I had lost all of my fives, I would have crashed out. Probably IRL. I don't think it was necessarily bad. I do think the mechanic worked. I wonder if there's room for like a narrative safety net built in, which is obviously you do get demoted to surf if you are unfifed. But knowledge that, you know, come epilogue, this one, there'll be like a SX Machina, just kind of like narrative thing. I guess not necessarily addressing it as gambling or problem gambling, but the reality of when you have a LARP that is win-lose, it feels really good to win. But it is almost impossible to stop it being devastating to lose. Even if we say, you know, we're going to be happy for the person who wins and that's the intended gameplay, I would do my best. Still want to throw up.
Yep.
Sorry, I was going to say, as somebody who did get in a fight that was basically lose, we're fucked, win, we're champions of the world, Hugh, how did that feel?
Yeah, echoing what Bronte said, I don't know how I would have reacted if I'd lost that one. The knowledge of that sort of basically shaped my entire game from about mid-afternoon on the Saturday. Yeah, from about 3 o'clock Saturday until mid-Sunday. I was a little bit like less able to engage with all of the goings on because I kept having to pull myself back down when I could feel my like actual stress ramping up. I'm like, no, I need that later. I'm gonna need that. That will help later, but like it keeps trying to come in. So which, positives, being able to sort of explore that in a like safe way, but also having not set up enough, like, yeah, thank you, Mark in the chat pointing out, like, you gave himself a whole other game. I'm like, yeah, if I didn't do that, I should have done that. The fact that I didn't do that means I do not know how well I would have coped. Probably not fantastically. I would have had to go for a very long walk. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was dancing around the room, like singing at people who won that bet. But also, like, I don't know. I spent a fair bit of that time going, okay, how do I react if we do lose it? And just going, okay, this is the game if I lose.
I mean, maybe it's
That's
because it
where
was
LARP-wise you lead a surf rebellion.
And I think that's one of the safety nets I should have actually encouraged more in the text, is that being a serf is great.
Yeah.
Being that rung of this society is actually more freeing. You have way more responsibilities taken, not to their hyper degree, but also that these people are post scarcity. We wanted you to care about fiefdoms, but we did not want you to think about them as your livelihoods. They are not. And that's something I need to stress more going forward about the romanticism of this world and playing in it, is that you were all vying for being the best at being good, and good is a weird virtue paradox in this world, and that losing means you get to become the happy freeholder folk.
Yeah, I think it was a thing that when we talk about it, the world was written for the game to work, and part of that is that it has no interest in accurately representing medieval society even.
Absolutely the fuck not. It is a fantasy through and through. One of my favorite lines is Great Holy Roman Empire Simulator. And a lot of people came in with medieval understanding and then accidentally hit a bunch of rakes I left lying around and smacked their nose, because it's not a true medieval world. It is a romantic world that's under shift as a service to dialogue of power, the meaning of power, where we put power, and freedom around it. And can you change systems inside them? Those are what I want to explore going forward. And what pilot season was for was, does my engine to play out this society work? And it did, because we didn't see a single story we didn't want to happen. I did singe a bunch of players doing this, and for that I am sorry. I needed either better safety rails or more obvious warning signs everywhere.
So I think that's one of the things that I think is worth talking about in future games, which is how many safety rails do we put in, where do we put our safety rails, how do we do trigger warning. I think that's a pretty big conversation that we can put in, have in the future.
The current
Ben,
off the cup.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, Ben, as somebody who, like everybody else here, was at the game. When we were at the game, we were at the top end of the lance, right? The pointy end. Bronte and I were both, I don't know, it was a very hierarchical game where
I got shooed away so many times by Eleanor. It was amazing.
To fight about that.
Yeah.
With Loom in the back.
How did it go? Like, you know, you were the lowest ranking nobles at the game. You weren't allowed to talk to people as wonderful as me and Bronte at all, really, without bowing and scraping about it. You know, to have people come and ask us questions if you wanted to ask us questions. How did that go for you? Like,
Look, from the very first outset, when my consort handed over their favor to the Knight of Coretia, I thought, oh shit, here we go. I wonder how much of a patch-up job I'm going to have to do from the bottom up. And it turns out not that much. I just stepped back and let things play out the way they were going to play out.
and I
And
had to face. Well, Hugh had to face the consequences of my actions.
I was about to say,
yeah, I
you don't
mean,
get any credit for this.
Sisyphus only had to push one rock, but he had to push it a lot of times.
Coretian
Yeah, look-
experience and the Galanan experience were truly a world apart.
Yeah, I kind of redesigned our heraldry, by the way. So
Yeah. Don't worry. Thanks to marriage, you haven't lost that much prosperity.
Oh, we're fine. Don't worry
welcome.
about it.
Thanks
Ah,
to
there we go.
Mary.
The Crown
No,
Knight
no, no,
approves
it's-
of your new heraldry.
honestly, it was fun to sort of be just above surf level and watch all of these responsibilities and like kingdom changing things happening, and then just be the little guy who messes up everybody's names when announcing them. It did get a little busy here and there, but honestly, it was a really good vantage point to watch everything play out.
Did you feel like you had agency?
Felt like I had some agency. I spent a lot of Friday night, trying to curry up to people, handing out some apple brandy, make a few connections here and there. And then after, everyone had sort of, gone to bed, just sort of wandering around, writing down everything that I'd heard, all these little rumors and bits of hearsay. There was a plot which wasn't actually a part of the game, which I had suspected, where there was I believe it was the Valratian courtier, Lord Mundred, had told me that some bandits had accosted the Valratian courtier and
It's
they
true.
haven't been seen again. And then somewhere else, I heard that our consort got accosted by some bandits, but was protected by the Knight of Coretia. That's why they got their favor. So I'm like, is this a Coretian plot? Is this what's going on? What's going on? Right.
Diegetic
I did
accidental.
also. I did also wonder. I spent a lot of Friday night actually wondering whether I had gotten played by Jean-Luc actually not being a bard, but in fact, being the herald, and I had just accepted their favor kind of blindly and wondered, played here? Oh my god, what a baller move that would have been. But yeah, I quickly confirmed the next day that wasn't actually the case. So yeah, it was difficult to play inside the confines of etiquette, but that is pure game design. That was exactly how it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
Trying to confirm things that were well above my station to know about.
I'm so glad to hear that the rumors system caused more fun than I saw. We put that in mostly so that everyone, A, thought about their characters, and B, didn't have to talk through backstory ever. Your backstory is out there. It'll come up. Just play.
Yeah.
Bronte?
The rumors ruled. I burnt 4 knowledge points on the last morning just on rumors. It was the end of the coming up towards the end of the tourney, and I walked up and I said I have 4 knowledge points. And I had a very distressed looking surf. And I said, I only want rumors. And they dug through the bag to find the best ones.
Do you know how many angry hands you could have filled in their spreadsheets?
Oh yeah,
spreadsheet
George's in the
done, I'm
chat, so
sure.
he's gonna be mad
George
at me, I'm
is
sure.
well. George isn't following the channel, so George can't chat. So we'll fix it.
Might have. I can see in the chat now.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
in any case.
but
Yeah.
that's amazing. I know. Yeah, there was a lot of spreadsheet simulator going. Cool.
Every single one of the hands were the people for that role.
Oh.
We knew so clearly what the top deck of this game looked like. We wrote the bottom deck to support it and went, I hope that's fun. Best I've got. Like, among the hot fixes already to put in, I don't need solos in this game. Playing solo is a thing you can do yourself. We intend to put 20 knights and merchant lords just into the courts.
Yeah.
Those are just part of your faction anyway. We want more bards, more heralds. That way, those are not all dropping on top of one person. And so that there's redundancy at the bottom of the lands.
Yeah, I think it was.
You can always start commands from higher, but you can't get them further than the bottom of your lands. And that's a hiccup in the game.
I did feel at times like the bards and heralds, like a fairly significant part of their game was doing their job. And I know talking, and then if the bard wasn't around for one reason or another, or the courtier wasn't around for one reason or another, waylaid by bandits or whatever, it turns out that the that increases the workload on that person, which is what it is. And I think that's one of the things where it's like, yeah, we've got pilots for a reason, but it's also when you go, okay, the game design wants the 32 players all to be there all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of okay. It's just like, yeah, we just want I think that redundancy, I think would solve a lot of those problems.
Yeah.
Or a lot of those I'm not even sure problems is right, but a lot of those slowdowns or a lot of
right, like I said, the game blew
the grit in
steam.
the gears.
We ran out of coolant and the tires are a little bit threadbare. But we did get all the way to the end of the line with some beautiful dramatic moments.
And
all of the things we want to adjust are adjustments. We're tossing nothing out, which is a very happy realization. Because a pile of this game was written, and then internally I had a question mark flag on a pile of it going, hope that's fun. I'd like that, but I'm crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's true of every LARP, right?
That they have question mark flags in their files, or that they're crazy?
Yes. We have questions. Can serfs get gay married? Well, there's only one gender, and that's serfs. So serfs can, in fact, get married.
Serfs must, in fact, get gay married.
All serfs are gay married.
All
as
serfs
many
are gay
times
married,
as they
by
want.
definition.
Shout out to Enzo's 3 wives. Like, you're all, I'm going to lose all my lands. You may now be polyamorous and queer again.
Magical.
It'd be a real problem because the way I've reverse engineered being a lesbian, I don't think that I don't know how that works in a post-gender world. Make me contemplate that, Oberon.
So
this game caused a lot of people to contemplate the core textual messages. I got some wonderful messages. And I also went, sorry, a lot, as people went, I'm feeling things. Oops. I write from theatre.
So
I know how to trigger emotions.
this is a game that was about gender and about hierarchies and about gambling, and not about medieval history. Although it certainly looked like medieval history. Huge shout out to Lenny for the design.
The
zine.
design
Who's got a
is-
zine right next to them?
Mine
I get
are all on
suitcase.
the table.
Oh, there we go. Look
there
at
it
this.
is. There it is. This is the best document
This
I've
is
ever had at a LARP.
literally incredible.
Hey.
Everybody's
Great page to open
titles.
to.
No, don't turn the page.
Brilliant
That's the
little
right one.
marginalia. And there were just, everybody had a copy, and there were spare copies around, and it was gorgeous. And it was fantastic because it also says who everyone is.
And at the back of it is the
I would like to note that
abridged
Lenny
version
put
of the
a
rules.
farting thing right next to mine.
I
Not
don't
that I'm
know if you
offended,
can
Lenny.
see, but I've
Oh.
also added in some Welsh pronunciation notes for myself, which
Except-
I only got to on Sunday.
It should have been Isolt.
Shout out
Anyway.
to Will for the idea. That came from him, and he spearheaded it. He
Oh.
did all of the translation of everyone's heraldry into it. He did all
It's
the formatting
gorgeous,
alongside
isn't it?
Lenny.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Will.
Yes.
Amazing.
I mean, I love all my fucking serfs.
you-
They did so fucking much for
If
me.
you have the chance when you're writing a LARP, just to be like, actually, we can have a book with all our players and who they are in it.
All your players, all your guilds, all your factions, just a diegetic cheat sheet for the step that's not important, remembering what the fuck this fantasy is.
Fucking incredible.
Because the more times your players do that, there'll be a point where they don't need to check the book anymore. They've just done the study at your game.
Yeah. Unless they're Jack, and then they need to read it off the thing.
That's fine.
Don't dunk on my wife while she's not here.
I assume she's watching from the other room.
She's not.
Oh. Well, then she deserves to be dunked on. Hugh, I was gonna say, how much, like, when we look at the game communication, and I've been on this kick since Tim pointed out that I should be on this kick around communication and advertising being part of the game design. I was hoping that you could give us a short speech about how you felt when you're like reading the rules and when you're reading the heraldry and the discussion and the game communication early on. How much of the design you got from that?
I must admit I didn't get a heap of the game in its final form from the sort of single line pitch that I got sent a message by. I got messaged by Bronte from a party where she got like a one-line pitch and was like, I want to play this game and I want you to play this game. You're playing this game. And I said, that sounds like a
Well-
one-line pitch I can get behind.
Trade kit for a sword.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that and make it work. And she's like, I'll make you kit, like I'll make you a thing. And I'm like, all right, sold. But the whole basis of that was that like the vague initial impression before everything shook out for like everything got crystallized and finalized, the initial impression was like, oh, you're going to play like a political character. You're going to need someone who can reliably be an champion TM.
Yeah.
And Brendan was like, I would like you because you're good at that. And we had also
My
just
friend.
come off the back of a LARP of doing exactly that and had had a lot of fun with it. And it was an interesting dynamic, which I enjoyed exploring a bit further. But then it shook out that that wasn't how it worked at the game. I'm not sure when that crystallized, but
That
in
it wasn't you're fighting for Bronte's situation.
it wasn't even like I am there and I'm fighting, and when time comes, sometimes Bronte will be like, I need you to do a thing. It turns out that I spent the whole time fighting for Josie instead, which
Thanks,
was fun in
guys.
its own regard. Especially because you're very good at creating problems. You made a big ball of problems. You gave them to me, and you said, "Here you go. There's gameplay for you." And I went,
Yeah, have some more
"That's a lot of
problems.
gameplay." All right. But it wasn't as the sort of aesthetics, the initial aesthetics, perhaps might have suggested, or the tropes that were suggested by the aesthetics didn't quite play out as they would in other media. Again, sort of the other point I noticed is like, sorry, excuse me, with the bequeathing system that eventually got made, as I understand, in response to my like poking to see if I could do a thing.
Can you
Because I
give
was like,
people stuff?
yeah, I was like, hey, actually, I think it'd be a sick beat if I could knight my squire.
Yeah.
But with the way the mechanics have shaken out, that's a like mechanical action that's tied to points, and points can only be shifted in very specific ways. How can we do this? And we got there in the end, but that didn't end up being a route I went down because of the setup that would have required. Like, it would have required me to win a shed load of bets, a thing I did not have time for because I was too busy fighting, chiefly, and worrying about fighting.
Oh, you should have asked me. I could have knighted the squire for you.
It would not.
I
wouldn't
ended
have hit
up.
the
I ended
thing.
up like barding
The
a.
genre convention.
You ended
or
up handing a bard,
a
yes.
bard
Which
instead.
let's never use that phrase again.
And bards, kids.
Okay.
But then, like, sort of, yeah, the aesthetic touchstones coming into this in like the top level vague pitch before you hit the actual grit, being stuff like A Knight's Tale, being stuff like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, where these kind of beats that are sort of the tropey moments are really pivotal, and then having that not quite align with the way this specific story works was a bit of an adjustment for me, and that caused a bit of mental friction. But I can't necessarily offer a solve beyond just dropping all the rules before any of the tickets go live, which is not necessarily
Which
a
I can
viable
do
solution.
next time.
Which works for next time, but is not necessarily viable for a pilot.
No, right? I think.
And we did
Not necessarily.
We did want to have the rules as soon as possible, and to all you burgeoning LARPrites, write the first version of your rules as fast as possible near your ticket release. Your players will acid test your game to perfection. Not like it'll be the best ever, but you will not have to do a fuck ton of hand sanding on your rules. You'll drop it in a box full of vinegar that represents your players. I'm sorry, I'm an armorer. This is how my analogies work. And then you will have a very shiny piece of metal. And wow, you didn't do anything but hand it to them. So we did get to create a bunch of very critical fixes.
I do think there's a lot of value in a relatively wide proofreading stage for rules, right? Although that does mean that there's stuff that you're not. I don't know how much you wanted to keep secret in terms of like fief values.
Yeah, the only secret we kept for the entire game was the points of the fiefdom game, because Percy didn't want that to be on your heads until you were playing, and only if you cared enough to find out. One of the ideals was that this game could be played with knowledge not being used. We knew it would be.
Oh, yeah.
We always knew it would be. But you could just play it off of the fiction on all of the Blorbo cards and the understanding that your personal fiefdoms that you submitted to us, we're going to make those more valuable.
Yeah.
Those are just better.
And they were. Bronte, as somebody who did put in a bunch of time and effort into learning the values of all the fiefdoms, or having your hand do it for you, and not being betrayed by your snake of a hand.
Yeah.
How well? Yeah, talk about the fiefdom game.
I'll be frank, I would struggle to because I didn't really place bets. Want to talk about the marriage game?
Yes,
I
I think the
about that.
fiefdom game is like 3 games, right?
Okay.
Because I think the fiefdom game is around what those fiefdoms produce. Like, do we want more wealth or more military or more food, or do we need some goddamn knowledge so that we can spend those and then trade those fiefdoms away? And then the marriage game around who do we marry people to and how much land do they have, and then the gambling game is the third part. I think those are there's like, and then those all feed back into rank.
Sure.
Yeah. And where does the dowry go?
Well,
That,
where indeed.
which was part of the game I didn't work out until Bronte and Nikki taught me about it.
Yep. So there was, I guess I'll start with knowledge. Corezia was the knowledge kingdom. All of our fights pretty much had knowledge points on them, and we spent them immediately. When I say I had 4 left to burn on the last day, that is because my dear husband Giles handed me all of his fights, and I burnt the knowledge points on them because he was too busy fighting to ever pull them out of his pouch.
Nightly
And then it all went to a book, and we cross-referenced the book, we cross-referenced the chart. Every time we found out what anything was worth, it went into the book, it went into the chart. So we had an idea what it was we were trading and who had what. Because numbers matter, and George is a spreadsheet bitch. And I love him. Secondarily, though, not just with the fiefdoms, talking about rank and sheer numbers. There was a question for me going in, knowing that marriage was a big thing, and as consort, it was my job to make marriage or make marriages happen. There was scarcity there as well. So the 2 things that I had in my head right at the start is there are 2 unmarried crown knights. There are 2 unmarried consorts, and I need to lock down 1
of each
immediately. No, just 1 immediately, because if I lock down...
You went for me before the game.
Hugh went for you before the game.
No, you made that.
Actually, no, it was
No,
me.
it was
me.
you.
That was
Sorry,
you.
yeah.
It's 100%.
Listen, like I said, I went into this, I said, I don't care which consort I marry, which of the marriageable consorts I marry, just one of them.
I walked up to Nikki and Josie on the crafting day. I said, I need a favor, quite literally. I need one of you to give it to Hugh.
And thus the game started.
Yeah. But I have a really fun story about the Crown Knights. Because the Crown Knight ended up being easier to lock down than the consort. The way that we were able to lock down the consort is because the 2 unmarried Crown Knights were the siblings of the consorts. So the only way that it could go was if they swapped to get a consort to Crown Knight marriage.
Yeah.
So we needed to lock down 1 immediately because it meant that there would be a second one free. That's how that works. That's how math works. The Bravanican Crown Knight decided on the first night at the feast that he was in love with Eleanor. And was convinced that his sister had worked out a way that could just marry her. Like, yeah, she's married. We'll figure it out.
It's fine.
It's fine. His sister said she's working out my marriage. Obviously, the consort and I had a conversation where I'd said, I have a sister, you have a brother. Don't tell your brother because he said he wants to marry me, and he doesn't need to know who in Karetsia he's going to marry. He just needs to know he's marrying in. And I'll gaslight him all morning, and it'll be fine. And later, Giles came up to Eleanor at one point. He's like, "Hey, Crown Knight of Pravanica says he's in love with you. Do I have to do something about that?" No, I've got it in hand. Just leave it be. Just leave it be. He's like, "You're so smart." Hell yeah. And it wasn't until he wasn't even in the room when we announced acceptance of the marriage. We don't know where he'd gone. So it wasn't until an hour after his dowry fight had been arranged and set that the Crown Knight of Bravanica found out that he was going to be marrying Renee. And honestly, he did so well for himself. Should be so lucky.
Actually, the most powerful crown knight in the realm now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, and also because of your machination, my sister refused the marriage sideways I was going to give because she was trying to spite me. No, because she was in love. No, because she spite me, and that spite meant that she didn't marry the consort of Bravanica like I wanted her to.
It
can be both
sister,
love and spite. It can, my dear sister. That was delightful. I think, yeah, but also, I think it's interesting because the Corinthian book was fantastic. Right? We had this big, the full spreadsheet. The Hand of Gehenna had one that rivaled it until about 2:00 on Saturday, when we decided that we would play soap operas instead of spreadsheets. I mean, we'd been playing soap operas instead of spreadsheets the whole time. And there was, I made a very deliberate decision that I was going to leave the maths to the lesser ranks. And just be like, tell me what's important, we'll make that happen. How did that go? Oh no, I want to talk about A Knight's Tale a little bit, and I want to talk about announcing knights and announcing fights. So Harold Kedwick, Harold of the People, or something.
Yeah, I had to come up with an in-game reason.
Got that reason
for that. Or okay, I wasn't sure if that had gotten out.
Go
starting
on.
rumor.
Go on, rumor.
Oh no, when Harold, or when Kedwick was younger, he had married a serf for love.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, and that was what ended up getting him busted down to Harold. But he ended up outliving his family. Was kind of just stuck there, and then after watching all the machinations of the nobles, thought, that actually is not so bad. But yeah, my my serf love was the one who gave me the name of Harold, which is why I kept it. In terms of announcing fights, announcing fights was a tricky thing to keep track of. Not so much with the kingdom versus kingdom fights, but also just understanding, right, this is, I'm going to suddenly be called upon while I'm trying to be busy doing other things. There was a time I remember that I had a couple of important bets that I needed to announce, or a couple of important bets that I needed to place, and was sort of stuck between, okay, which part of my duty do I have to prioritize here? Do I leave my spot in line and go do this and potentially lose out on placing the bet and risking disfavor? Or do I try and hand this over to someone else? So I did at one point accept a bribe so that so that one of the jewels was kind of switched around. But I'm not sure
Wait,
how much that
what?
affected the game, but
No. Wait,
I'm
what?
so glad to hear that happened.
Go on.
Please elaborate.
Go
so
on.
it was a very, very fancy trinket. Traded with the Bard of Valracia, so they could skip ahead in line. They had to make it worth my while. It was pretty damn fancy.
So they could skip ahead in the line.
And talk to the
They
serf
could
sooner to
skip
place a
ahead.
bet sooner. That's
Yeah, and that means that the jewel that they were putting ahead was ahead of the jewel that I was in line for.
I like that you've
That's-
just thrown Valracia completely into chaos in the comments.
I love that. I honestly do. These were the little moments I wish there was literally more room for.
Yeah,
Um,
the bullshit that the bards and heralds were was
Right?
very
Because-
funny.
Because there was one. Once I had the story explained to me, I walked in and the entire room was singing at one point. And the reason for it was because everyone used the lance perfectly to talk to the Empress, and it went
Swimmingly.
sideways fast.
I was fantastic. So Charlie was sitting next to the Empress randomly, or Squire Brigitte was the Empress randomly, and the Empress said something about how it would be nice, like just making some. No, go.
Can you sing?
Can you sing?
Was the first question.
And then somebody comes up to me a couple of minutes later and is like, the Empress needs to want Squire Brigitte. No, the Squire Brigitte needs to know if the Empress wants her to sing to her. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's find out. And so I go to the Empress and I'm like, oh, do you want Squire Brigitte to sing you a song? Or actually, I think what I said was, Squire Brigitte would like to sing you a song. Would you like to hear it? and she's like, oh, I don't know, only if she's got a good voice. And I'm like, well, okay. And so I send back down Squire Brigitte, only if she, she can sing the song if she's got a good voice. Then the Empress requires the song of her. And then Charlie has to go write a song with some bards.
And then is performing for the lance in front of everyone. The Royak walks in, and everyone's just singing at this squire. I look to my masters at arms, and the serfs are just in the corner going.
To be fair, I wasn't singing with the squire. I was singing with the Empress.
And this then led to the beautiful line, and if you have a problem with any of that, you may take it up with the Empress.
I know! It was actually amazing. It was just like, the Empress wanted that.
There was a question in chat much earlier. Is there a mechanical benefit to military and wealth? And the answer is yes. In the epilogue, all of your kingdoms had stats they were missing. The goal before everything else, like the square zero goal of your kingdom entering one of the first full empire tournaments, was let's solve the deficiency in our land.
Yeah.
So every kingdom had something they lacked, something they were great at, and then two middlings, one above, one below. So there was purpose to stacking for certain other things.
And this was a thing that I didn't notice, but my hand worked out quite. And then my hand was making this extremely complicated spreadsheet on sheets of paper and like who owned what and blah 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 blah, and trying to do those numbers until they decided that they would rather stab me in the back like a scorpion crossing a river. Not that I'm upset.
Oh,
But
my lady, you can't be upset. You won and the matter is resolved.
I know.
Yeah, you won.
It is, yeah. Sorry. August's trying to get a photo of everyone singing along, but in every composition that they tried to frame the photo, there was like some people going, like Nikki refusing to sing with the squire. Actually, no, that's not fair. I apologize, Nikki. Like Odile refusing to sing with the squire. Nikki would have loved to, I'm sure.
He loves to sing along.
Nikki
That is
loves
something
to sing
I
along.
do want more time with the players at large, is so that etiquette becomes more of that and less the statement, I can't talk to you.
Oh,
Which
yeah,
is,
yeah.
According to my own, hey, look, it's
Holy
one of the
shit, look at
stat
that
decks.
book. It's amazing.
As according to etiquette, that's never true unless it's literally the top talking to serfs. There is always a way I wanted everyone being able to communicate, but stress, time frame, weather, and the amount of energy my game took meant that everyone went with the far easier version of, I can talk to you.
Yeah, Bronte, go.
I had one of those after the Herald of Bravanica and the Crown Knight of Bravanica doubled. I was really upset about it, and I went over to yell at the Crown Knight, and the Crown Knight wasn't there, and so I started to yell at the Herald. And the Herald just went, "My lady, can you speak to me like that?" I immediately went, I had to start winding it back. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Going.
Oh my god.
My favorite.
No, you go.
My favorite tutorial moment was actually on Friday when Weatherby upset Enzo. And Weatherby had apologized to Enzo previously, but Enzo walked away sobbing. And I'm talking in one corner, and I just hear Enzo, played by Will, just going, and I just snap turned to him. Enzo, my dear boy, what is wrong? Oh, one of the knights said something a little unfair and mean to me. Who? What they said? Sorry, who? Enzo. And so naturally, I break decorum because the Royak is a very, very good member of the Lance.
Also,
shocked to this day, no
yelled
one picked
at
a fight
me
with me.
about telling Enzo to get the fuck out of a chair.
It's true. Everyone kept picking a fight with my precious
I
little
didn't
boy.
pick a fight with Enzo. I just wanted the chair.
The serfs are the blessed.
Harold Kedwick, Harold, can you please tell us one of your moments about speaking too far up or down, up the lance? There's no too far down for a herald. You're a miserable worm. I'm going to ask you next, Hugh.
Miserable worm with the best apples.
The best brandy, tell you what.
It's true.
Fucking amazing.
Thank you. That was my favorite piece of kit, incidentally.
Brandy saved me a little.
Harold Leopold was very, very, very good at identifying etiquette breaches and calling them out and making me just suddenly go, shit, backpedal, apologize.
Made me do it too.
As Harold Leopold says in the chat, find a proxy if you wish to yell at me. Quite.
So I would take the things that I had just said and turned them into room-wide musings wherever I could. In a small room, that was a little easier to do. I could ensure that the people who wanted to hear it could hear it.
Well, you got shooed away.
I did get shooed away quite a bit.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite breach of etiquette moment, where I wasn't actually breaching etiquette at the time. Eleanor just wanted to talk to the person that I was talking to sideways, and stepped in and was like, no, away with you, away. No,
You
further,
were
further,
breaching
back away
etiquette?
further.
Enzo ratted you out.
Enzo was such a snitch. Oh my god.
That was Will's secondary job, was to run around poking everyone with etiquette. No one fell for the trap that we set up across Friday and the other day. Alfie brought a little fox pet, and so we described it as, oh, that's the Royark's pet hunting fox. That's their favorite fox. And everyone petted and enjoyed it. And then Enzo was going around on Saturday. Royal pets have the same rank as serf, seeing if any of the nobles would pet and talk to the fox, and nobody did. They all went, nope, 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 that's a trap, that's a trap, fox.
It's a trap. You?
Shout out to Nikki's cat.
I pat the fox, and no one called me out on it. No,
Should've slapped you for petting my
Alfie
fox.
looked at me very funny while they were holding the fox, and I was like, I'm not gonna read into this. I don't have time. I'm just here to pat a fox. Thank you. There was a thing, I think, my most memorably in terms of like speaking to people I shouldn't be speaking to, or like circumventing etiquette to actually get things done, as was necessitated by the structure of the
Constantly.
thing, was being like, I was trying to arrange a somewhat complicated triangular bet on the Saturday morning because I'd lost my first fight and came out of it, and someone said, hey, by the way, you know, I keep forgetting who tells me these things. It wasn't you, Josie. But someone was like, hey, by the way, you know, you're like, your betrothed was betting on you on that one. And I'm like, hell, I gotta go win something back, right?
I'm pretty sure that most of them were Bronte's snitch.
Oh, it was probably George.
Almost
probably had the
definitely
George
George.
within.
George was having a great time
Where's the
trying to
snitch
throw me
now?
under every bus that George could find.
And I was like,
There
all
you
right,
go.
I
It
gotta
was
go.
George.
I gotta
I
go
fucking
fix
knew
this.
it. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Thank you, George. King. I was like, all right, I gotta go fix this.
Oh,
Okay, I'll make it right. You know, go find a bet. And I'm like, all right, you know, if you win, I'll give you a holding. If I win, I think this was with Palmer, Otto, the hand of Bravanica. I was like, you know, if you win, I'll give you a holding. If I win, you need to give a holding to the consort of Galana. And then I was like, okay, sure, weird, all right, makes sense. And then I'm like, all right, let me go find someone who can convey this to the staffs. And I think it was definitely Jean-Luc, and also I think the Bard of Galana were both there trying to comprehend what I was saying and transmitting it directly to the serfs and not quite getting it and figuring it out. And I'm like, all right. And I just like looked, like I half tilted my body towards the lake, the Bard of Galana, and I spoke directly to the serfs, facing them, just being like, all right, this is the situation. I'm saying this loud enough that everyone around me can hear it. And as soon as I'm done, I just turn back and I'm like looming over the serfs a bit with the did you get that face? And they're like, okay. I'm like, good. Right.
amazing.
But I felt like I had to take that kind of path instead of doing the like back and forth and up and down and through and like allowing potential miscommunications to develop or whatever, because I didn't have that much time, or I didn't feel like I had that much time because I needed to go be ready to be in the list again.
Yeah, well, I got
And
you in a lot of fights. What
you sure did.
did Bronte?
I reached a point where I started feeling like the serfs were too stressed out for me to do that. To be completely honest, I would come up with a herald like, oh, we're gonna sort this out. And the poor serfs sitting at that table looked so stressed that I was like, we're just gonna, we scheduled 3
just gonna
dowry
tell
matches
you,
at
like-
once. It was within the bounds of etiquette. Show me, I'm just gonna write it down for you.
And we do already have a hot fix for that. You may only have one live marriage at a time.
What?
The
Can't be the
No!
hot fix.
Oh, that's absurd.
the,
we go to
10
war
marriage
over
pile-up
this.
is a famous quote inside our dev team now.
Just need an actual get your serfs a little iPad.
Okay.
That's within
Maybe-
the
Hang
bounds
on,
of
hang on.
Rock's power.
It is nearly 9:30, and therefore, by the laws of etiquette and also Taryn yelling at me whenever I take the break after 9:30, we are going to have a 10-minute break very shortly. I do wish to say that my favourite crossing the land, like people overstepping their distance on the lance moment, was when there was a duel and there was this big conflict, and it was Mads versus Mark, or the Crown Knight of Gahana against the Herald of Velracia, and they were doing the duel and like shit talking each other as you do during a duel, and the Herald is like blah blah blah, and then Crown Knight is like, "How dare you talk to me?" And then they go back to fight. That was the best thing. Anyway, two sentences from each of you before we go. Thank you. Stop talking to me. Very good. Thank you. It was piss funny. I cracked up. Yes, two sentences from each of you before we hit the break. My tour. Thank you. Stop talking to me.
Me, bro? Praise Shavak, what the fuck is going on? I said at my own game.
If the GMs know
Cool.
everything that's going on, the game's not complicated enough. Sorry, Bronte.
I don't know who you're pointing at, JC.
You and Ben.
He called me a twat, and I cried for a week.
Glory to the heralds. Glory to the bards.
Yeah, chaos is a ladder, but sometimes that ladder just leads down.
And welcome back, everybody. We are here talking about Fields of Honor, which is the second of the pilot season games. We are chivalric, gambling, political, medieval, tawny LARP people. And we are going to just introduce ourselves very quickly. I'm Josie. I played Angaradovich Angarad, Consort of Bahana, and Ben.
My name is Ben. I played Harold. Yeah, Yillen or Yichen, depending on how you want to pronounce the L's.
Excellent. And Hugh.
I must say, it always cracks me up that you have to take a beat to remember the name that isn't Harold, even though that's actually the name. I'm Hugh. They, them. I played Sir Morgan Le Fouguier, the Knight of Colesia.
Excellent. And Bronte.
I'm Bronte. I played the consort Eleanor Griffchant de la Tour Chatelaine, first of her name, High Lady of Coretia.
My God, I can't believe you looked that up.
Didn't look it up.
Okay, Angarad Vichangarad, 23rd of her name, beloved of the... No, darling of the forest, beloved of Shavak. Anyway. Oberon.
I'm not doing mine.
I'm Oberon, they them Faye. I was the creative director, and I played the Royak, Anna Trunecht Dracul, Wormslayer, first of their name.
I do kind of wish that I had picked a less annoying fanfare noise to play over and over and over. But that's okay now that we have all our panelists and we can continue talking very peacefully about. Oh, what's this?
It is I, Squire Rivulet, aka Riv, the Squire of Alracia, Gooseneck Slayer, protector of the common folks.
And first Squire of Phalanst.
First Squire for life, that's
Announcer
right.
of thine own title.
The announcer
That's
of thine own title. Amazing.
almost won the competition,
There we
but
are.
I didn't. It was close.
Very.
Amazing. Thank you, Riv, for joining us. It's so good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for indulging my ridiculous entry. So,
Happy to oblige.
Riv Yulette, the only one at the entire event, the literal only character not to irritate Odell.
No, didn't know.
I don't know what I did.
You were my champion and won a couple of fights in my name that Odell did not want you
Yeah,
to
that'd
win.
do it.
Yeah.
That'd do it.
I don't know what Harold did to annoy Odell, but that's okay.
Existed.
Yeah, existed and not a Valration, I guess. I don't know. Riv, tell us about your game.
This was my first big LARP. I've done 3 parlor LARPs, and this was my first big weekender. I've done heaps of role-playing tabletop games in the past, so I came into this with a solid character. I knew I just wanted to be a good guy who wanted to make his betters proud, and I think I achieved that. Everyone was happy with what I did, except for perhaps the Harold Weatherby, who was reaching very far up the lance.
Oh my god,
And
so
I
far.
I perhaps hindered him, but only as a goodly squires want to do.
Yeah, you came second in the Great Tourney.
Yeah. Tied for first, and I had to fight Lance, the Knight of Gathana. And I was not aware what a knife-wielding demon he was. And so I was absolutely shanked when it came to Rondels.
And also the fact he's got like a foot on everyone else in the fight.
Very long boy,
drop the
very
sword.
long.
And also spent the entire game, by his own admission, scoping every knight in every fight so he could predict how they fought.
Yes.
How
we hadn't
much?
fought up until then. So we had gotten each other's measure that morning in a small practice outside before gameplay started. But I did not get his measure in Rondels, which was perhaps the problem here.
How much getting each other's measure and practicing and checking on each other's fighting stuff did you all do, Ben then Hugh?
I was pretty attentive. I didn't get much of a chance to make that into something, but yeah, watching people's fighting styles, how they approach different battles. I ended up winning 6 out of 8 bets, but the bets that I made weren't significant ones. But yeah, just based on that, I was able to make a few calls that other people may not have been able to spot. So I felt pretty privileged being ringside for so much of that. And yeah, I'm gonna be taking away a whole bunch of interesting stuff from that as well.
You?
Yeah, I was a little bit more focused in my opposition research, but I was definitely doing it. Mainly it was like, okay, these are like fights I know coming up. These are people I need to look for that I know I need to look out for. All right, they're on. All right, stare. I didn't do heaps of like practice sparring or like the supplemental biffs so much. And I mean, at least a little bit in part that was to not tip my own hand and like not provide opportunities for other people to be doing the oppo research. But I was doing a lot of watching.
Bronte?
This is an anecdote from the other side of Oppo research, not so much with Eleanor because our Knight Consort championing with some exceptions. But I did have a few, George would recount a few times that he would make bets with people, and it would be a fight on his champion versus their champion, and they would make the bet, place the wager, and then after it happened, go, who was your champion again?
And who was George's champion again?
It was the Herald of Bravanica.
The Herald of
Leopold.
Bravanica, Leopold, aka Heather.
Heather.
And they are
So
a
they'll
fucking
third place.
demon.
Bellringer.
And the
Bell
reason
ringer.
that they were third
Full
placed
medal.
is not because they lost any fights, but largely because they were trying to be a herald and a bard at the same time and didn't have time to fight enough people. Which I think speaks to a failure on behalf of the hand of Caritzia. Because, as we all know, the primary driver of how much a champion fights is how much of a bitch their consort is. Or their courtier is.
Kind of.
I started a fight specifically on the Saturday morning just to give my crown knight enrichment.
Bravanica
God,
worked
give
that
him a
out
little
at
more.
lunchtime on Saturday. It was really funny. They were like sitting there chatting, and they're like, "Oh, we're not fighting enough." Cat!
Hello.
Everyone look at the cat. This is a very heraldic cat.
It's a very heraldic cat.
You should
introduced the
remember
cat.
that, George. Because it was a flaw in your gameplay, and now you need to learn it. Hello, Oscar.
I
I'd
think you can
argue-
call it flaws in his gameplay.
No, I think this
I
is
can
more
call
of a
out whatever
flaw
I want.
I'm going to admit an actual flaw in the timetable.
Ah!
He did not put the room for jewels in the right spots. Next
Why
year
not?
I want because it meant that we had to stack all of them to the end of Saturday, and that means I am relying on everyone to remember their beef for 6 hours.
Oh.
I am asking everyone to remain healthy for fights for 6 hours, and then do 3 more hours of fights and beef. What I want next year is a separate list for beef. That way, when you have beef, you can just go do it.
Oh, right. So two-pieced.
Right? And this also means that the tourney gets to be the tourney and beef gets to be beef. I had this dream of them being equal in points because being virtuous in this society is how much do you defend people, how much do you champion, how much do you fight. But this does have the interesting effect that all of these characters have to be not bastards, but pricks who won't apologize.
Yeah.
Because apologizing
true
just
fact,
essentially
right?
is, no, I don't want the points. Whereas standing steadfast means, aha, more points.
Yeah. And also, like, there was a point Saturday night when we were playing Never Have I Ever in character, and Angarad said she had never backed down from a fight, and the Royak said, "Excuse me, you did today when the Royale called Ungrad out for telling the poor serf to get the fuck out of the chair. And Ungrad's like, yeah, fair enough, I'll drink. Because that's what Ungrad does. She did, in fact, back down from the fight. That's what happened. And when Josie, like, I was thinking about that, I'm like, that wasn't her backing down from the fight. That was her admitting she'd made a mistake. But in this society, that's the same thing.
Correct. In terms of the time frame of it, it'll probably just be on an alternate time step. So when one list is in use, the other one's on break.
Ellie having Shani.
There can be twice as many fights going on across the day, but I'll also have a much bigger team.
I think that sounds great. But if Shani is like, hey, my champion, how are you doing? And Ellie being like, I'm not getting enough fights. And Shani being like, I gotta go start a fight. Glove slap.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And it's like correct and good.
Correct. It's a core loop, and a thing I think I didn't train my players enough on was starting fights is virtuous.
Oh no, I think that
defending the lance is virtuous. Calling people out is virtuous, and it butted square against A, the box, so everyone's trapped in a room with the sensory information, and B, that's a cool idea, and we had enough trust systems across that it happened a bunch. But there were a lot of people who went, I don't feel like I can pick a fight with you, which is wrong.
No, I agree.
You always pick a fight with everyone.
Well, see, Hugh? See? I'm following the game design. Anyway, Bronte.
I don't have a glove, but if I did, I would slap you.
Here, here's one.
Thank you. No, I guess this is more of a sort of technical thing with the separate lists, and less of a thing if you're going to have them running at different times. But I would hate to diminish the importance of the tourney. And I wonder having two lists running, because I did think that the energy was at its best and everyone was watching the same fight. I do wonder what the weight to be put on splitting lists are if you're splitting the crowd as well. But then that's something that your team has plenty of time and additional resources to think about, so I won't belabor the point.
In my hyper-optimistic head, the lists are right next to each other, and you are either watching and this one's not on, or you're watching and this one's not on.
It means you can split
That's my
breaks
idea.
as well. You can run one and the breaks.
Yeah, this means there's also... we also intend to institute more break time, more court time. Like, my game does work as a continuous marathon, but I shouldn't fucking do that to players.
I'll reserve my other mechanical feedback for a feedback form.
Yeah, we don't actually want to make this a feedback session or a design the next Fields of Honor session.
I thought it ruled, and I just want the parts that I thought ruled to be all I play.
Understandable. And my one experience in that arena, having spent all of it watching it, I got in and immediately went, wow, this is a lot of pressure. Fuck.
Yeah.
I sure am good at my game design.
So,
cool.
Ellie in the chat says the mental transition from can I call out my own hand for something that's at least partially my fault to I should absolutely call out the hand they were dishonest was like a light bulb moment for Ellie. And that was funny because Ellie came to me to have that conversation and was like, so the hand did this thing, and I'm like, you should challenge them. Challenge them immediately, woman. Oh my god.
I would say that a lot.
Right? It was great. We all wished for a slightly larger field, it is true. But the weather was the weather and the deal was the deal, and so it goes.
Planned for a slightly larger field.
Yeah, right. And
it was larger field.
It was all built. It was there.
I made so much bunting. We used like a quarter of it.
Oh, now you've got all this fair bunting.
Oh, damn, I'm just gonna have a bigger event.
Riv,
Less bunting for next year.
one of the
More time for
things
costume.
One of the things that I've been interested in, Rev, is the Squires thing.
Mm.
Squires.
And
Nice.
I get that, right? Like, yes, Squires, all that, blah, blah, blah. But I want to know, like, how manufactured that was or where that came from. Or, like, there was this incredible... You were also very gay.
Yes. Incredibly. Unofficially.
Oh, obviously,
yeah.
unofficially, but also... But like, where did the Squire's energy come from? Like, how do you think what factors go into
It
that?
started in the Discord. We wanted one of us, I think it was Charlie, proposed having a chat, an online chat, and giving each other backstory nicknames and just creating our own Squire lore so that we could be just like a cohesive, silly unit. And we did that, and we also sort of involved the courtiers because we were all in the same playing field. And it just turned into this bro, but not bro.
You were such bros,
Because-
though.
It was such a
But
bro
like
energy, but I
lesbian
was the
fuckboy
only-
bros.
I was the only like mask Squire, but we just constantly referenced getting up to things in the barn and just celebrating each other whenever we did anything, having fun in our bouts, like playing it more casual instead of competitive in a duel. Taking a bit of the edge off the seriousness of how intense the day was.
Yeah.
I really loved seeing that because it did create this interesting juxtaposition where the more responsibility you have in this empire, the more dour you become.
I
Because the
know.
knights, the consorts, and the crowns are all thinking so much about what their actions will do to the realm. And then the crown knights are occasionally not thinking at all because they've transcended this loop.
They
And
have
they have
enough
once again
CTE.
reverted to Squire. But there's this gorgeous central part.
I also deeply appreciated that that juxtaposition when I got to be it, when I had to like walk in every once in a while and be like to Tej, who was playing my Squire, and be like, listen, I appreciate the bro energy, but these other Squires are being a bit of a bad influence on you. And like having that kind of conversation, it was great. It was peak. And like it wouldn't have worked as just me being like disappointed dad without that like joyful energy to come in and poke at. Peak, loved it.
There was a joyful part for me where Tej leaned in to Jack, Jack had come to sit next to me to say some sort of rumor to the air, and you had lost your fight against Heather, and Tej leaned into Jack and was like, "Yeah, well maybe the bad influence is this knight who keeps losing fights."
Devastated that never got back to me. Devastated that never got back to me.
I feel like it needs to get back to you now, just because it didn't at the time.
Peak. Love
Herald, tell us about Herald energy. How is it at the handle end of the lance?
Yeah, that was some disparate energy. Having to play up against Weatherby for most loud. Yeah, that was a challenge.
Could not compete.
It's not
Could not
possible.
compete. especially not in Welsh. That was a lot of fun, though. I was certainly happy to seed whatever round Weatherby saw fit to trot on.
But you guys
except
were
when it was over the top of the list.
But you guys were quite competitive in the Heralds, right?
We seemed to be, yeah. I think there was a lot of jockeying for position and rank, and who can do the best. I wasn't entirely fully confident that I'd be able to beat Harold Leopold, but I don't know. I've done some practice bouts with Weatherby, but then I had never fought the Herald of Carinthia before, and that was one of only 2 disqualifying matches in the entire game.
Yeah.
That was a tricky fight. I was not prepared for that.
Well, that's the
It
thing.
was a lot of fun.
Because Jess doesn't fight battle games.
Very glad Jack was incredibly grateful for the last minute swap out.
Yeah.
She injured herself quite badly, actually, falling in a ditch at the Marshall training day.
Ironic.
And getting to swap from Herald to Bard was a blessing for her, and getting Jess subbed in as the Herald was a blessing for me. My wife's a blessing generally, but I was very glad to have Jess be the one swinging the sword around.
I was sad that I didn't get to take advantage of just subbing in, because one of the things that I knew is that because Jess doesn't play battle games, most of the people wouldn't know how fucking good she is. But because of some other stuff, I couldn't get Jess didn't get to play as much as we wanted. Yeah. Oh damn! I'm gonna win so much money on her. So many lands. Oh well. Yes, I know. Such a shame. You would have loved me to win more lands, wouldn't you, Bronte?
Well, I would have loved to play more game with Jess.
Yeah.
The lands I think I could take or lose, but
well, I mean that's a thing that we're talking about at Immersive Arts, where because because we had an injury, Jess had to take over as site manager. And I probably should have spent more of my game time out, as the other Immersive Arts Melbourne person was there, and we didn't have a great setup on that. But we're gonna fix it. It's a pilot for everybody. Yeah, no, and there's Mads and Ellie in the chat are feeling sad that people injured themselves fighting them. And I think in both of those cases, I don't know what happened. Yeah, with Jack it was terrain, and with Jack versus Mads it was terrain, and with Charlie versus Ellie, it was Charlie overextending herself.
And it was terrain. The wall.
And the
wall.
And the
right?
Being
but yeah. I don't know, when Charlie tells the story, it's that Charlie stretched too hard on herself trying thing that she shouldn't have tried to do. But it still makes you feel like shit, right? Somebody hurts themselves fighting you, it feels real bad.
Yeah.
It's a thing when you are fighting and there are no-go areas such as neck and face. And if you hit one of them, you get yellow carded. And if you get yellow carded 3 times, you're out.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality. And I got red carded. Yeah. And I felt really bad.
Yeah. Same.
They
were fine.
To all of your credits, you all took it beautifully. You all played as intensely and gently as I requested.
Yeah.
You all... I'm gonna meme here for a moment. That's the safest longsword tournament I've ever seen.
Categorically true.
Right?
I do.
You-
Yeah. Like, I think that the respect for the refs was huge and really important.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's-
Go ahead.
No, we're gonna go Ben then Hugh.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say that as well. I mean, setting the Master of Arms up as the voice of Shavak as well, in that moment, really forced you to pay attention and go, whatever they say goes. Do not argue. Just roll with it.
Mm.
Super important.
Hugh then Riv.
Full credit for design work that integrated. I mean, like as someone with a HEMA background, that's not like that's exactly how it plays, right? At a HEMA tournament, the refs say things, and that's the truth, even if you know it's different. Fencing is at least a 3-person sport. It's you and your opponent and the ref.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like being able to just get people who haven't necessarily had that experience to click immediately, consistently, to the extent it needed to. Fantastic work. Also, full shout out credit to David and Rune and Alfie, and I think at one point Will, and I think at one point you, because reffing is really hard. It's really, really, really hard.
I've reffed
And
at
doing it
HEMA and
for-
it's fucking hard.
Yeah, I've reffed it like
I've reffed at LARP,
high
but it's
level
harder.
HEMA, and it's like it's really hard. It's really mentally draining.
Yeah.
Doing it for 6 hours, insane.
Insane.
That's so much work. We should all, if you're listening to this and you see David or Rune, buy them drinks. They deserve it.
Or Alfie.
Or Alfie.
Or Alfie, yes, or
Yeah,
Alfie.
absolutely.
Or Will, but they'll buy Will drinks for different reasons.
Tell Will to buy me a drink. Fuck. Riv, talk about the Master at Arms and the reffing and how that went.
They are an invaluable resource in and out of game.
What do you mean by out of game? What do you tell us?
When we were doing pre-game, we had a lot of combat workshops in order to learn how to safely fight and grapple if we wanted to go that far. They taught us these basics, hammered them home, and if we wanted to continue honing those skills, we would go to the Fitzroy College of Arms every Monday and have practice bouts, practice reffing for each other, practice just being in the situation that we were going to be in on camp. It was, and they just such good feedback consistently every week, and just getting to know what works, what doesn't, just while class was going on, just having a big old bout with David outside and just being silly, but also really, really getting some skills down, learning some sick moves, not getting to use any of them, but
at least one or two, surely.
Yeah. Tried. I actually didn't do any hand grapples, and I really wanted to. It's just you try, you think so much, and you just want to be in the moment and lock in and not overthink it, because
overthinking loses you fights.
Yeah.
Next year, just have a wrestling section, like just one section of the tournament that is just wrestling. That would be good.
I would
I'm
love
kidding, but
to get my players wrestling to the ground and to have just wrestling be one of the break time activities. We'll
Ooh.
see.
good to have more erotic activity for the knights to get in on.
There was a couple of the Rondel fights where I'm like, just tie their wrists together. Go on. Tie their wrists together, you cowards.
20.
Lapishfechten.
Glorious Lapishfechten.
What
It's
is
the,
Lapishfechten?
It is the basis for what this rule
Yes.
set was designed out of. A few people suggested early on, "Oh, is this LARP Bohurt?" And I went, "No, not at all. This is
No, if it
Lapishfechten."
was Ellie, Ellie would have won more.
Right. This
Siege
was
probably would have won more
LARPing
too.
at Harnishfechten. This is the
Ah.
knightly art of armored combat, and I really wanted a game where Meisterhaus and grapples and sick rondel shit in armor happened,
Amazing.
and it did.
It did.
Sure did.
I don't know how you'd get the jelly out of your armor.
I
It's
have
written
several
up metal on it
suggestions, Bronte,
beforehand.
but this is an M-rated podcast and not going to go into how to get jelly out of
Okay.
the armor.
I have no.
Yeah,
comment
that's
on it.
correct. Mads, my dear sister,
Rough-
points out
rough
that you
start.
do that with a friend, Bronte, with a friend.
Mhm.
Now, moving on. No!
Yes,
We are
right.
not this kind of fucking. I'll start an OnlyFans where Bronte just
This
talks
game is
about
written by
lesbian
the ace
fights.
community. You're not allowed to be horny at it.
He's making
I
fun
will
of me
outlaw
specifically
horniness
too.
next. Do not make me.
Oh, should we talk about the fact that all of the players decided to be gay?
Literally
Absolutely
all of them. Let's
like-
talk about that. So, every consort, every courtier. That's actually no, that's not quite true. There was a couple of the courtiers who were like, "No, I am into knights."
Are you into knights, Josie?
Look,
I believe Sir Mundred was exes with a knight.
Sir Mundred was
Once.
into knights. No, Sir Mundred was just
Certainly.
flat out into knights.
The Lady Renee was into knights.
The Lady Renee was into
consorts,
knights. The
by and
consorts
large,
were
were not
all
into knights.
extremely gay. All of us.
There is exactly the right amount of people who are into knights and people who are into consorts in Eleanor's marriage.
Which is 0.
You know, there's one of
No.
each.
One of
One
each,
of each.
exactly
It's
right.
not
Okay,
distributed.
yes.
Yeah.
You write a game
Do
about
still
gender,
be-
people play gender games.
This did mean that everyone got to explore the issue, right? The cage I put everyone in socially, that power structures, especially binary deterministic ones, will just shove you into things and you have to live with it. I often made the meme, this was not a game about gender. I kind of stand by that because the actual goal was dysphoria.
Yeah.
This is a game about struggling with enforced placement.
Yeah.
And living through it.
There was one of my rumors that I wrote and didn't come out was that Angarad and Isolt were actually born the other way around.
Your false rumor.
My false rumor, where Isolt was actually born the courtier and Angarad was born the knight, and they swapped or something. It was just like, yes, there's a rumor that I'm secretly trans. Transvestigate Angarad. Which I think, and therefore also transvestigate like Isolt, and I thought that was hilarious.
It's interesting to come out of the player's reaction because I wrote everything trying so hard to say, I don't care what your parts are.
No,
That's
that's
not
right.
the
That wasn't the
question.
point.
No, it wasn't. No.
And this meant that everyone immediately glomped onto this, oh, gay.
I mean, to talk about it more broadly, and I guess this is slightly outside of the LARP, but it's about gender and sexuality and the way that you construct it. I, Bronte, am a lesbian. I'm also a woman, but of those two identities, I feel probably lesbian more strongly than woman.
Yeah.
And it's interesting in the way that that is sort of constructed. And so in this game where gender, your reproductive organs, your physical presentation, but instead the assigned way that you see the world and the way that you're expected to interact with others who are assigned a different role societally, you've still created two genders, right? You've created the
yes.
gender of knight and the gender of consort. And so for me, what it wasn't was I have to reconstruct woman, it's I have to reconstruct lesbian. And
Yeah.
the way that that ended up being for me was I don't care for knights. I don't care for knights, not really because of an aesthetic. I don't like the way that they exist in the world, and that doesn't do anything for me. What I resonate with are people who go through the world in the same way as me. And those are other consorts. So I've reconstructed lesbianism. But also in doing that, Giles and Eleanor, who were in a how you say the marriage that is purple,
Yeah, there were beards.
were a really functional couple, and partially because
More than any other crown.
more than any other crown. And
They
in
were
a
just
way,
as functional as the Empress and Royal.
we have
Mhm.
children.
More
Cop that.
Uh, the thing was, we were both in a lot of
Jesus.
ways.
Yeah.
They were the lance working as it was supposed to,
Oh.
because one of them is embodied a knight and the other one is embodied a consort. And yes, never the twain shall meet. But
They
in
should
that
meet like
sense,
once or twice a month at tourneys and.
once a quarter.
Okay.
They're very fond of one another.
They are. They were great friends.
and
They worked together very well.
I did. I had been planning to in my head I'd envisioned a relationship with Eleanor and Giles where Eleanor was much more or maybe sort of gently contemptuous. And I think I spent 30 minutes role playing with Joel, and I was like, no, that's our guy. That's our guy. That was good. That was really fun.
That was adorable.
But for me, that was how I reconstructed gender. It was this sort of might be considered in the big pyramid of academic, gender and sexuality to be the secondary thing. But for me and for Eleanor, it is the primary thing. I think that's interesting.
That's fascinating.
That's a really cool result. Hugh?
Ben?
Ben.
Hugh. Sorry.
Right,
I'm
you're in
still-
charge.
Ben, I'm still composing
Sorry.
thoughts.
Okay, Ben. Ben, then Rev. And then Hugh.
Well, I mean, playing Harold, I'm not sure any sort of marriage was really Harold's main goal. It ended up becoming a very strategic business proposition. In the end,
Marriages.
I think that
Correct.
Harold was just too old by the end of that. So he's like, all right, let's play whatever hand is dealt here.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting approach. Was one that it was. I don't know. It was tricky. To navigate in that respect because for a lot of the time I was just playing Harold as like some old guy who had been there to witness the worm being slain, and he was just kind of like a old fogey who'd like trotted out for another tourney, and all right, we'll see how the kingdom shakes up this time. But yeah, it was very interesting to walk out of that and think, okay, all right, there's some interesting possibilities here. We can start introducing the best horses and the best apples together to supply the kingdom. So
Well-
it became super business.
Yeah, no, because for me, I was like, oh shit, I've like fucked my kingdom. And I need to like get us some points. And I think the best points that I can get is this particular merchant print, I think, is the best points available that I can score with this game piece I have. And then
low key as well, like sitting right next to you talking to Nick about look, Harold's all right. His face has curves.
Yeah, no, and I was like doing horse
Can't do
trading
anything
with the
about
horse
that.
right next to me, right? I'm like, you should buy this guy.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have given your squire to Jean-Luc.
I didn't. I gave Jean-Luc to my squire.
That's true.
You?
I'm not sure if it was a night experience in terms of the engagement with the more like consortly behaviors. Right. But I definitely did sort of end up, I think, I don't know, I did some gender with Morgan, I feel. I'm not still figuring out exactly what I was doing with it, but there was some gender happening there in terms of the way that he interacted with the world as much more of the like more polite, more political, more social in a way I did not see, and I can't speak to it because this is only what I saw, but in a way I did not see the other knights, the other martial classes doing nearly as much. And I'm like, well, is that, I can't say for sure that that's a gender thing, but it feels like I was doing something with it. But then of course there's this sort of interesting comfortability where it's like, that was all fine and all good. And then it's like, hey, bud, here's the thing you do. You go in the list, here's a sword. And the way that
defend
the
the
way
wife.
that aligns.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, defend the wife, go have a biff, score some points, hit thing with sword. And the way that aligns with my skill set better, and the way that aligns with the things I enjoy a bit more, and the way that is the opposite of my actual experiences with gender, of being like, like I'm feeling less comfortable with.
Angarad and Morgan felt like compsis, right? Like some sort of where we've got to enforce society's requirements on us to do the thing. I don't know, to me it felt like that.
I sort of take a point, and this is again talking about my actual literal gender and not Eleanor's gender. I wear dresses not because I like them more than masculine clothing, but because I think they look better on me. I think that they look better on my body, and I don't feel strongly enough about masculine clothing to make that work for me. How do you feel about fighting?
It as an act in itself, it's transcendent is such a wanky word.
No, it's not.
But it's like, I don't know, it's a way to interact with the world that is definite, that is clear, that is not contestable, is not an open-ended possibility space, right? Open-ended possibility spaces, blah, blah, blah. It's closed. This is the limits of what can happen in here. Do the thing, and you just do the thing, and you become the thing you're doing.
That makes sense, but if you were to And that makes sense because that has a clear path laid out and that fits. Those are the clothes that fit the body. If you were to then extrapolate that out to the political maneuvering and all of that, and we're using metaphors here, is that something that you might like the look of more if the fit were more comfortable? It sort of I told Oberon, perhaps unkindly, on the first night that they had reverse engineered transphobia. But definitely you have reverse engineered dysphoria. That is a success,
Yeah.
overwhelmingly, I think.
No, but I also think that, like, as a trans person, this is a game about transphobia that doesn't trigger me.
I'm glad to hear that.
No, I
Because
mean, if
when
it had
first
triggered
got
me,
brought
we
to-
wouldn't have let you run it.
Right? When
But
it got presented to me by Bronte on the first day, personally I was sitting there and then going, that is a read of the text.
Yes.
We don't agree with you, and we're not going to talk this through with you, Bronte, because we have to start running a game.
we're
Call
running a
forward.
LARP. Can we do the critical
I'm
thing
busy.
later?
Call forward.
No,
yeah.
I did that read. Some I think it was more during the
I
game.
thought it was an
there were-
accident.
no, but that's fine. Like, that happens all the time. Right, transcoded text or gay coded text, meaning it constantly. And I think, like, this game did it sort of intentionally, but, like, also, I saw, like, you know, I wrote a rumor that that my character was secretly of the opposite group, right? And that was a scandalous thing. And that was me choosing to play the transphobia without triggerment game, right? And I sent that to you, I don't know, a month and a half before the game, right? But you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Riv, Mawage, who presented like you played a very masculine, fighty guy, right? Is that something you chose to do deliberately? Is that you were like, I'm gonna play a dude who's dude broy? Or was that just me like reading that into something?
I don't know that I went in being like, I'm gonna be a dude bro. It's definitely it was a take on just being a human that was sort of like the opposite of how I feel, in that it was a guy but doesn't feel beholden to the gender construct of being a guy. It's just
It's a squire first and a guy second, right?
yeah, it was
Or a duck first.
It was walking into the room duck first. It was a intention of direction, as opposed to a self-realized desire.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very like layered character that I could only access so much of. But it was somebody who came from a situation that they are inherently trying to hide because it is in many cases unaccepted by the court that they are now in. And so they have the face that they're presenting is, I can be what it is that you expect to see of me, and what will get me by, and what will make others trust me and put they'll bet on me. They'll
Cheer
want me
for
to represent
you.
them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, when things started sort of really like heating up, but also calamitously falling apart, more of the sharper aspects of them came out a bit.
Yeah.
Because they were given more opportunity. And so it was a case of you can rise even further out of where you have come from, and what you are is not defined by what was. It is by what the people surrounding you conceive.
Yeah.
I
There you go.
came up to you on the morning of the last day of the tournament after you had accepted my very haphazard offer of marriage to one of my courtiers. Haphazard in the way that I delivered. It's my favorite, probably, of the marriages, if not the funniest. But asked, or rather, Eleanor asked Villette, which was probably a total breach of etiquette. That was where we were at. Is how confident are you feeling in the fight coming up? And I remember you said, very confident, my lady. And I was like, good. And I went off to place a bet on you. And I didn't make it. So it's for the best because you didn't win. But it was it was for the last fight of the tournament. But it was a really beautiful like expression that you had on your face at that time was incredibly striking, because I think, whether intentionally or not, you managed to, was the face of someone telling their boss, I can do that project. I'm the guy for this.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
Yeah. I was absolutely felt that was the mold I had to fill. I was like, everyone is asking me how I feel, and I need to be utterly assured of my position. Because
You still did great. Still a great marriage. 10 out of 10.
I loved marrying a Lady Isolde. That was not mad about it. It was great. I still have her favor with me.
Oh,
And
very
Finn's
pretty.
crazy. I can't believe they fucking beated that whole thing.
Oh god.
Yo,
what? Amazing.
Can we talk about the favors and the stuff that my players made?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I want to just jump to Ben for a minute, and go. So how? I don't know how much you know about how valuable your apple brandy was in the political game.
No, I have no idea, but it was a good icebreaker, and I wanted to make something that was representative of my fief, and I thought, all right, I'll go look up some recipes and get that circulating around. But the way that I sort of approached this was, I don't have any skills at sewing. I don't have any skills at I don't have a lot of medieval kit. I don't have, up until the day, I had just received my first piece of armor on the Friday.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for that. And that whole side of things was pretty amazing to me. I was just consistently gobsmacked by the level of skill that I kept seeing in the the crafting channel, just the amount of output and like high quality movie level output of people's sewing skills, people trying new things, doing different things. That was phenomenal to me.
Wasn't it?
It was beautiful to see.
Yeah.
That level of creativity that the team and the players put into their characters, realizing their kingdoms in all sorts of different ways, was just next level. And one of the ways that I felt that I could contribute was making apple
Booze.
brandy, because it didn't require sewing and it didn't require medieval kit. So yeah, I made sure to have enough there to go round.
Yeah.
I was
And
just
then
lucky
we were
that the
able
Empress
to-
said it was okay to share that extra bottle.
And we were able to
Yeah.
parley it into
Alright.
into extra points.
Well, I
Handy to
still
know.
trade you some for some sewing next time.
Absolute deal.
Well, I mean, so the apple brandy, I still think like Mads has left the stream now, but she was like one of the things that changed her mind and convinced her to marry down was the fact that Paul turned up with, the box with the harpy eggs.
Yes.
And that was, that sold her on this marriage, which infuriated me on many levels. But sorry, no, it didn't. It infuriated Angarad. But like Josie was like, shit, yeah, go the harpy eggs. That was cool as fuck. Also, let's go for the point. Let's go for the drama instead of the points.
It's a real shame, because if we'd known that the consort of Bravanica wasn't going to be marrying your twin sister, we probably would have wed her to Morgan.
I know. What? No. What do you mean? Why would you marry her? Marry him to the second best consort?
Did marry him to the second best available consort.
Riv, change the subject for me, please.
Sorry, I'm sorry. No, you said no.
No,
back.
moving on.
Sorry.
This
We're
LARP
muting.
was such an excellent, just like paddles to the heart of my creative soul. Having a project and a goal to work on feeds me, and this is like, I got my sewing machine out for the first time in years. I have
Love
this
it.
huge collection of fabric now. I have so many just projects just around my living room, and I am thriving once again. I feel more alive. I feel better. I feel more just a creative human is what I am, and now I have things to pour that into, and that is all I could ask for.
That's actually
I need more.
beautiful.
I need more goals. Somebody set me another goal.
We will. So we are at 10:40. I'm gonna unplug the internet. I cannot imagine a better closing line than that, Riv. Thank you. But nonetheless, I'm gonna make all our panelists have a try at doing a better closing line than that. We're gonna go Oberon, then Bronte. No, we're not. We're gonna go Bronte first, because fuck you. You were mean to me. I love you, Bronte. It's so fun playing with you. But we do get in conflict, and that's delightful. So Bronte, and then Oberon, and then Ben, and then me. Riv, actually, you've already done an amazing closing line. If you've got another one, you can go after me, because that was great. But let's start with Bronte. Go. Right now.
I love you, Josie, and it's great fun playing with you.
Excellent. Thank you. Next. No. Bronte, do you have I would like, I don't know, a summative line about what Fields or what pilot season meant to you?
Fields, I suppose.
Took too long. Next. No, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
No. Sorry, that was rude. Go, Bronte.
Yeah, it's nearly 11. A consort's work is for all of her kingdom, and most of that is telling them after you've negotiated it that they're going to get married.
Amazing. Oberon?
My players looked at the bar I set for this game, looked at me, looked at the bar, looked at me, looked at the bar, and every one of them went, "Fuck you, Oberon, I'm gonna try and be better dressed than you." Fuck, did most of them get there?
I know, right?
And there was nothing more gratifying to my heart than a room full of people in color on Friday night, draped in heraldry.
That was beautiful. Ben?
Look, this was, like Riv, this was my first weekend at LARP, and let's just say the bar has been set incredibly high. I look forward to participating in a whole lot more in the future, including this one when it comes back around again in whatever capacity that's going to be. Who knows? By that time, my husband Lysander may have buried me out somewhere in the orchard.
No. Your husband Lysander is going to control you and do business for you. It's fine.
I'll leave things to my daughter, the Infanta, who I ended up winning in a bet. But yeah, look,
it's a teddy bear, guys. Don't stress.
It's a tiny bear.
Right.
It's not,
Right,
it's
the
not
teddy
a
bear.
It's a teddy bear. Don't,
Yeah.
It's not.
They want a teddy bear. My game does not have child wagering.
Everything else.
Don't you talk about my daughter that way.
It does have Orphans by Monsters.
Well, yeah.
So,
That's it.
Orphans, yes.
That is it.
yes. Look, so glad that I participated in this. Really
Great.
can't say enough.
Thanks, Ben. The VicLARP event calendar is at viclarp.au. If you schedule a fucking LARP at the same weekend as somebody else, Will and I will judge you for it because we put a bunch of work into this thing. If you would like to hear more from Immersive Arts Melbourne, here's our mailing list. We promise we won't spam you. If you
Unless
would...
you want it.
No, even then. Fuck you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Wait.
just takes work.
You have to ask really carefully and quietly and in a very polite way for us to spam you. If you would like a cool ass sticker, especially, I have stickers, that are this one. I have stickers that say Roy Ark approved with hats. Look at this. Amazing.
Mhm.
Ooh, the glitter.
They are so fucking cool in person.
They really
yourself-
are.
really
They're
are.
very
Get
shiny.
yourself the sticker set.
If you want one that says, no, I don't have We're on Your Team now. I don't have that one. We're not talking about that. I have this one. You can buy this sticker. From, yeah, it's pretty good. You can have Go Off My Leash. There we go.
Give off.
Go off. Go off.
I've got that one on the back of my laptop.
Yeah, you should. What's wrong with my link? Something's wrong with my link.
Your website has not. The link has been failing. I've been trying to get onto it for.
Oh, it's wrong. Okay.
Yeah, it's missing another score.
Is it? No, I think it's missing a empty space. There it is. Okay. That one. Fixed it.
Good job.
Nice.
Thank you. You can buy tickets. There is a space in it where there should not be. That's right. You can buy stickers from there. I will spend the money on a local trans woman who needs things. The playful. Thanks, Bronte. The Playful Agenda Symposium is doing stuff. It's going to be really cool. We are looking for submissions, particularly from people who like to think or talk about LARP. I can't imagine that anyone on this particular stream is in that field. I don't know. There's the
Something about the
Discord.
submission I put in yesterday, this morning actually.
I need a brain first.
I had this whole today. I had parent-teacher interviews. I have not looked at it. I'm excited to see what you've submitted. Fantastic. Also, this channel is amazing, and you should subscribe to it. Rivscat says, "Subscribe to the channel, guys."
Praise Shavak.
Praise Shavak.
Hey, Shavak.
Praise Shavak.
So saith the steps.
So saith.
Riv, I've got to challenge you now. Patting a cat, that's just...
I'm
That's
sorry
red,
for
not
answering
That's not for you.